Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I have a big book haul. I've got 22 books to talk about. I went a little bit crazy at a book sale at the end of the year and finally got them in the mail, and I got 19 books, and then I realized there were some other books I hadn't talked about that I've gotten within the past few months. So yeah, 22. I don't remember what all of these books are about, to be perfectly honest, and instead of trying to memorize what each of these are about, I'm just going to kind of read off some of the synopses. I'm going to try to make this really snappy. I'm trying to make this interesting as well. So hopefully it's not boring, but I didn't want to try to read through all these and remember what each of them was about and then probably explaining them very badly. So let's go ahead and jump in to the book haul. I've got a variety of adult, middle grade, YA, everything, fantasy, scary stuff, all of it. So let's go ahead and jump in. So this is one that I got at my book club's Christmas party. We did a blind date with the book challenge and we got The Couple Next Door. This is a adult thriller. It says Anne and Marco Conti seem to have it all. A loving relationship, a wonderful home, and their beautiful baby Cora. But one night when they are at a dinner party next door, a terrible crime is committed. Suspicion immediately falls on the parents, but the truth is much more complicated. So this one I'm hoping doesn't make me too nervous, because I think it's about a child being kidnapped, possibly, which I have my own daughter who's 5 and that sounds terrifying. But I would love to read some more thrillers, and I've heard this one is really good. So I'm excited to try that one out. On the same thriller train, this is one I actually found at Goodwill, and I was really excited to find it, and that is Final Girls by Riley Sager. I'm trying to read some more Riley Sager because I love this author's work, and I love the thrillers that this author's written. So this is a little bit of an older one, but it says 10 years ago, college student Quincy Carpenter went on vacation with 5 friends and came back alone. In an instant, she became a member of a club no one wants to belong to, a group of similar massacre survivors known in the press as the Final Girls. Lisa, who lost 9 sorority sisters to a college dropout's knife, Sam, who went up against a sack man during her shift at the Nightlight Inn, and now Quincy, who ran bleeding through the woods to escape him. Despite the media's attempts, the girls never meet. I'm going to stop there. There's some more description, but my goodness. I think she's faced with what happened when she was younger at this camp, when she was a part of this massacre. I don't know if she faces the original killer or if somebody else kind of comes out of the woodworks, but it sounds like a good time. It sounds like such a good Halloween read, doesn't it? It's got like this slasher vibe. I love it. Okay. Let's see. Let's do this middle grade. It's called The Peculiar Incident on Shady Street by Lindsay Curry. I can read. All right, it says Tessa Woodard isn't exactly thrilled to move from her home in sunny Florida to rainy, cold Chicago, but homesickness turns to icy fear when unexplainable things start happening in her new house. Things like flickering lights, mysterious drawings appearing out of nowhere, and a crackling noise she can feel in her bones. Tessa realizes that someone or something is trying to communicate with her, and it involves a secret that's been shrouded in mystery for 100 years. Middle grade haunted house story. It's everything to me. I love it. Let's read it. Let's do it. Okay. This is one that I'm really excited about because it just sounds like historical fiction about Alice in Wonderland, and chef's kiss. And that is Alice by Heart by Stephen Sater. I believe this book, I think it's either based on the stage play or the stage play is based on this. I'm not sure which is which. I think this comes after the stage play. But this one sounds really, really cool. It says, stricken with tuberculosis, Alfred is quarantined, with doctors saying he won't make it through the night. Desperately believing she can make him well again, Alice is determined to transport him to Wonderland by rereading to him the book that has always bonded them, the story that she knows by heart, the story of Alice's adventures in Wonderland. And I know the rest of this story is her telling him the story of Alice in Wonderland, but then some of the things that are happening in their life, there's like a bombing blitz that happens, and some of the story and real life starts to blur together, and you kind of start not knowing what's real and what's not. It just sounds really, really cool, and just this historical fiction, World War II vibe mixed with Alice in Wonderland, that sounds so cool. I'm really excited to read that. Hopefully I'll get to that one really soon. All right, next we have The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is one I actually do know the premise of. We are following this boy who reads this book called The Shadow of the Wind, and he absolutely loves it and decides he wants to see if he can find more of this author's work. But when he's trying to find this author's work, he realizes that he can't find anything else that this person's written and can't find any more copies of The Shadow of the Wind. And then he finds out also that someone has been systematically destroying the books, and he may have the last known copy of this author's work. And it goes from there. So it sounds really cool. I've heard it's good. I'm hoping it's not too dense for me. Oh, it's got small font. But it just sounded like it has this maybe historical fiction aspect to it, but then also fantastical. I don't know. It just sounds really cool. A story about stories kind of thing. And I always love the idea of those. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to read, I think. It looks a little bit chunky to me as an adult book, and so I'm a little nervous about it, but I think it'll be fun. All right, we got another Riley Sager, and that is Survive the Night. This is Riley Sager's most recent release, and this one, again, I actually found at Goodwill. Brand new. I mean, it looks absolutely brand new. And I actually know the description of this one too. So we are following this girl going to college, I think in the 80s or 90s, and there has been a killer on the loose on campus. Some different people have died, and during some type of break for school, she's wanting to go back home, and she ends up hitching a ride with someone else on campus. But while she is in this car driving back home, this person's driving her, she starts to wonder if the person driving her is the campus killer. So it sounds like it's going to be suspenseful and really cool. I've heard a lot of kind of like mixed reviews about this, but since I found this at Goodwill, it was just a couple of bucks. I was like, that's worth grabbing, trying it out. I had a friend of mine that read it and said it was really good, but then I've heard a lot of bad reviews too, so I don't know. I'm just interested in reading it and seeing what I personally think about it. I think it'll be fun. All right, next, middle grade. This one is so pretty. It is Cinders and Sparrows by Stefan Bachmann. Stefan Bachmann? I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but it's got like this pearlescent thing to the cover. It's just so stinking pretty. I love it. All right, let's find out what this one's about, shall we? Because I have no idea. When a scarecrow climbs over the garden wall, delivering 12-year-old orphan Zita Bridgeborn a letter saying she has inherited a distant castle, she jumps at the chance of adventure. But little does she know that she's about to be thrust into a centuries-old battle between good and evil. Blackbird Castle was once home to a powerful dynasty of witches, all of them now dead under mysterious circumstances. All but Zita. And Zita, unfortunately, doesn't know the first thing about being a witch. And it looks like the rest of it says something about going to, like, having magical lessons and things, so she's learning how to be a witch, and it just sounds really cool. It looks very fantastical and pretty. I love the name of it and just the feel and look of it. It's just so pretty. Oh, middle grades just crush it when it comes to covers, don't they? I love it. Okay, let's do another middle grade. I'm jumping back and forth with all sorts of different genres here. All right, so we've got this one, which is Eva Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julie Abe. This one definitely gives me Kiki's Delivery Service vibes. It just looks so wholesome and wonderful and adorable, and I love it. All right, let's see. Eva Evergreen is determined to earn the rank of novice witch before her 13th birthday. If she doesn't, she'll lose her magic forever. The only problem? Eva only has a pinch of magic. She summons heads of cabbage instead of flowers and gets a sunburn instead of calling down rain. And to add insult to injury, whenever she overuses her magic, she falls asleep. So it sounds like she's trying to kind of prove herself as a witch and working extra hard to do that because she only has a pinch of magic, and it sounds absolutely adorable. Oh my goodness, this back says 1, help your town, do good all around. 2, live there for 1 moon, don't leave too soon. 3, fly home by broomstick, the easiest of tricks. This just looks so adorable. I can't wait to read this. I think this is the first in a trilogy too, and I think at least the second book's already out. So I'm hoping I love this. This just looks so precious. I love it. Okay. All right, I got 2 spooky books that pulled up now. All right, we've got The Mary Shelley Club by Goldie Moldavsky. That is a last name. That is okay. This is a YA thriller, I believe. Let's see what this is about. New girl Rachel Chavez is eager to make a fresh start in Manchester prep, but as a scholarship student, she struggles to fit in among the rich kids and finds herself turning to horror movies for comfort. Somehow, the stabby serial killers and homicidal dolls seem less scary than bored trust fund babies. Then Rachel gets caught up in a prank gone awry, going from weird loner girl to public enemy #1 overnight. To Rachel's surprise, however, the incident attracts the attention of the Mary Shelley Club, a mysterious society of students who orchestrate elaborate pranks known as fear tests, which are inspired by urban legends and movie tropes. There's a little bit more than that, but I'm trying to keep this short. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think they kind of like led her into the club, and some of the pranks start to get a little bit too elaborate and a little bit too terrifying. So I'm excited about this one. This is one I was actually originally wanting to read, I think in October, and I didn't end up getting to it, which I'm kind of glad I didn't, because now I have a physical copy instead of reading it on my Kindle. So I'm excited to read this one. It looks like a lot of fun, and it's a nice spooky cover. Love it. All right, keeping with the spooky vibe, we've got Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesare? I don't know. Sorry, I don't have no idea how to pronounce a person's last name. This looks amazing. I've actually heard this is really good. It is a YA like slasher thriller. It just sounds like everything, and I just okay, let's see. Let's see what the description is. When Quinn and her father moved to a tiny town with a weird clown for a mascot, they're looking for a fresh start. But ever since the town's only factory shut down, Kettle Springs has been cracked in half. Most of the town believes the kids are to blame. After all, the juniors and seniors at Kettle Springs High are the ones who threw the party where Arthur Hill's daughter died. They're the ones who set the abandoned factory on fire and who spent all their time posting pranks on YouTube. They have no respect and no idea what it means to work hard. For the kids, it's the other way around, and now Kettle Springs is caught in a constant battle between old and new, tradition and progress. It's a fight that looks like it will destroy the town, until one homicidal clown with a pork pie hat and a red nose decides to end it for good, because if your opponents all die, you win the debate by default. It's about a murderous clown. I mean, it sounds terrifying, slightly hilarious, and it's everything. I'm excited to read this. I feel like I have to wait until October though. This one just screams October to me, but it's gonna be a good time. Okay, let's go to something cute, shall we? This is a, what's it called? Graphic novel. Wow, my brain. And that is Seance Tea Party by Ramina Yee. This, I'm so excited to read. So this one is about a little girl who doesn't really want to grow up. All her friends are starting to get interested in makeup and boys, and she just still wants to have adventures and play make-believe and go explore the woods and all these things. And she ends up becoming friends with a ghost. And she's also really obsessed with like spooky stuff too. And she ends up, becoming friends with a ghost. And it sounds so stinking cute. It's a nice thick graphic novel too, which I'm really excited about. And the artwork is really, really cute and pretty. I'm just very excited about it. I think it just looks great. So I may need to read this one soon because it looks absolutely precious. Okay. This one it just sounds like something from the 80s, and it's called The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. It says, growing up in 1980s Niagara Falls, a seedy but magical, slightly haunted place, Jake Baker spends most of his time with his Uncle Calvin, a kind but eccentric enthusiast of occult artifacts and conspiracy theories. The summer Jake turns 12, he befriends a pair of siblings new to town, and so Calvin initiates them all into the Saturday Night Ghost Club. But as the summer goes on, what begins as a seemingly lighthearted project will uncover mysteries darker than any of its members, young or grown, had imagined. This sounds like a lot of fun. And again, like the cover just makes me think of like this 80s, 90s vibe, and I'm just living for it. I look at the little floating ghost girl there. It's just, I love it. It's so cute. It's so cute. Okay. All right. This is one I've actually read. This is the only one that I purchased that I have read, and I'm really excited to own because I loved it. And that is The Unleashed by Daniel Vega. This is the second book in the sequel to The Haunted. There's only 2. I don't think there's going to be any more. I wish there would be. But this is a YA duology series about a girl moving to a town, and she ends up moving into a house that's haunted. And it's creepy. It's legitimately creepy, and I love it. I love haunted house stories, but I love it when it's legit haunted, legit terrifying. And that's what this is. And it's chef's kiss amazing. I just love it so much. So this is, I'm not going to really say much about the second one because it's the second one, but yeah, both of them follow the same character, and she's dealing with ghosts and spooky stuff, and it's YA and amazing, and I just adore it. So I highly recommend The Haunted, which is the first one, and then this one, The Unleashed. They're both so fun. I'm so excited to own that one. Okay, what do I want to do next? All right, let's see. We've got None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. This cover doesn't really draw me in that much. It's not the kind of style cover I usually entirely end up going towards, but I remember the description of this one is what caught me. So let's find out what it is because I don't remember. 1982, Quantico, Virginia. Two teenagers, serial killer survivor Emma Lewis and U.S. Marshal candidate Travis Bell, are recruited by the FBI to interview convicted juvenile killers and provide insight on cold cases. From the start, Emma and Travis develop a quick friendship, convincing juvenile murderers to talk when even the FBI can't get them to crack. But when the team is called in to give advice on an active case, a serial killer who exclusively hunts teenagers, everything begins to unravel. Working against the clock, they must turn to one of the country's most notorious incarcerated murderers for help, teenage sociopath Simon Gutenmussen. That sounds really fun and terrifying. Okay, yeah, I'm pumped. I'm excited about this one. So, creepy serial killers. That just sounds like a fun time, doesn't it? Love it. Okay. Next, this is an adult sci-fi, and the description of this one also sounded so cool, and that is Early Riser by Jasper Fjord. And this one sounds so interesting. It says, every winter the human population hibernates. During those bitterly cold 4 months, the nation is a snow-draped landscape of desolate loneliness devoid of human activity. Well, not quite. Your name is Charlie Worthing, and it's your first season with the Winter Consuls, the group responsible for ensuring the hibernatory safe passage of the sleeping masses. You're investigating an outbreak of viral dreams, which you dismiss as nothing more than an artifact born of the sleeping mind. When the dreams start to kill people, it's unsettling. When you get the dreams too, it's weird. When they start to come true, you begin to doubt your sanity. This just sounds like a good time, and such an interesting concept of basically the world hibernating, like people going into hibernation in the winter. That just sounds so fascinating to me. Yeah, I just think this is going to be really cool and a really interesting idea for a sci-fi, and I'm excited to read it. I feel like I need to read this in the winter though. Am I right? It's just kind of what it sounds like. All right, next. YA book. We're getting there, folks. We've got a smaller stack now. All right, next we have Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. This one I think is a haunted house type story, but I just got to show you because this freaked me out. Okay, so you see the cover, right? The girl, she's kind of looking down all demure, and then you open this, and then she's like, has her eyes open. When I first opened that, when I bought this, it freaked me out. I don't think it's supposed to, but oh my gosh, it freaked me out. Okay, let's see what this one is about. It said, Mila is used to being alone. Maybe that's why she said yes. Yes to a second chance in this remote place, among the flowers and the fog and the crash of waves far below. She hadn't known about the ghosts. Yes, ghost stories. Newly graduated from high school, Mila has aged out of the foster care system. So when she's offered a teaching job and a place to live on an isolated part of the Northern California coast, she immediately accepts. Maybe she will finally find a new home, a real home. The farm is a refuge, but it's also haunted by the past, and Mila's own memories are starting to rise to the surface. So this one sounds ghosty, but maybe it might be kind of like psychological as well. It might deal with some kind of heavy topics too. So I'm really interested in this one, and it's quite small. I think it'd be a quick read, but I'm excited about it. I don't know. It's such a fascinating cover. So pretty. Okay, this is another YA murder mystery thriller that I have heard so much about and I'm excited to get to, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This is the first book, I think, in a trilogy, and it just sounds absolutely fascinating. Said everyone in Fairview knows the story. Pretty and popular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend Sal Singh, who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about, and 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy still haunts her town. But she can't shake the feeling that there was more to the story. She knew Sal when she was a child, and he was always so kind to her. How could he possibly have been a killer? Now a senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the closed case for her final project. at first just to cast doubt on the original investigation. But soon she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Sal innocent, and the line between past and present begins to blur. I love this. I love kind of like the cold case thing. This reminds me of the Truly Devious series, with that series and kind of like revisiting a cold case. Now that one was like one that took place like 100 years ago or something. So this was a more of like a recent murder, but that just sounds so cool. I love the idea of a cold case and kind of like maybe proving wrong who everyone thought the killer was. I just think that's so cool. But then, does that mean the killer's still on the loose? I'm excited. Okay. Middle grade. Let's do a middle grade. This one looks precious. It's called The Gilded Girl by Alyssa Coleman. This one, for some reason, the cover makes me think of a little princess. I'm not sure why. It's just really pretty. But there's also a cat on the back that looks like it has a dragon shadow behind it. So maybe fantastical as well. Excuse me. My throat's getting dry from all the talking. All right. Miss Posterity's Academy for Practical Magic is the best kindling school in New York City, and wealthy 12-year-old Emma Harris is accustomed to the best. But when her father dies, leaving her penniless, Little Princess vibes, Emma is reduced to working off her debts to Miss Posterity alongside Izzy, a fearless servant girl who refuses to let her own magic be snuffed out, even if society dictates that it must. Emma and Izzy reluctantly form a pact. If Izzy teaches Emma how to carry on as a servant, Emma will reveal to Izzy everything she knows about magic. Yep, it sounds like it is a magical retelling of A Little Princess, which sounds so good. That's why this one gravitated, and I put it on my wish list. Now I remember, because I love A Little Princess. I watched the movie so many times when I was a kid. I still have it, and I just adore it. I love that movie. So I really love this story, and I'm excited to see kind of like this magical twist to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about that. All right, let me grab some of the middle grades I have left, and then we'll kind of do middle grade, YA, and adult, because I think I have a few of each left. All right. So this next one we've got is called The Girl and the Ghost by Hannah Alcuff. I absolutely love this cover. It's so pretty. Oh, and look at the back of it. Oh my goodness. Oh, there's a tufted dog hair. That's really gross. It does have deckled edges. Not the biggest fan, but that's okay. All right, so this one is, Soraya is delighted when her witch grandmother gifts her a pelicet. She names her ghostly companion Pink, and the two quickly become inseparable. But Soraya doesn't know that pelicets have a dark side, and they are not above hurting others to ensure their master's happiness. Pink never knew what true friendship was until he met Soraya, but when Soraya starts making human friends, Pink feels the sting of betrayal, and jealousy begins to overtake him. Soon Pink's shadows threaten to consume them both, and Soraya and Pink must find enough light to survive before they are lost to the darkness. That sounds really, really fascinating. I like the idea of that. I always love like the kind of thing with a ghost and a person like being friends, but it sounds like they're supposed to be more than friends, and they're just supposed to be like really, really close, and the ghost gets jealous. So sounds like it could be spooky, but also like maybe heartwarming as well. Maybe a little hard-hitting. We'll see. All right. Next middle grade one, last one I have in the stack here, is The Language of Ghosts by Heather Fawcett. And of course it has ghosts in the title, so that immediately intrigues me. Let's see what this one's about. Forced into exile on an enchanted moving island, ex-princess Noa Marchena has two missions: reclaim her family's stolen throne and ensure that the dark powers her older brother Julian possesses don't go to his head in the process. But between babysitting her annoying little sister, Mite, and keeping an eye on the cake-loving sea monster that guards the moving island, Noa has her hands full. When the siblings learn that their enemies are searching for a weapon capable of defeating Julian, whose legendary spell weaving is feared throughout the kingdom, once and for all, they vow to get to it first. To everyone's surprise, the key to victory turns out to be a long-lost magical language, and only Noa can speak it. But what if by helping her brother, Noa ends up losing him? I like the idea of a cake-loving monster. That's what stuck out to me the most when I read that. It just sounds so fun. I like it. It sounds like it's going to be a really fun kind of like high fantasy middle grade. I think it'll be cute. It maybe has like some good high stakes to it too, so I think it'll be fun. Okay. The rest of the books I have here are kind of spooky. I've got a couple of YA and an adult, so let's do the YA ones. This one, I love this cover because it's just so creepy looking. It's called Harrow Lake by Cat Ellis. I think it's Cat Ellis. I love the like blurred picture. It's really spooky looking. All right, let's see. It says, things I know about Harrow Lake. Number 1, it's where my father shot his most disturbing slasher film. Slasher vibes. Number 2, there's something not right about this town. Lola Knox is the daughter of a celebrated horror filmmaker. She thinks nothing can scare her. But when her father is brutally attacked in their New York apartment, she's quickly packed off to live with a grandmother she's never met in Harrow Lake, the eerie town where her father's most iconic horror movie was shot. The locals are weirdly obsessed with the film that put their town on the map, and there are strange disappearances which the police seem determined to explain away. And there's someone or something stalking her every move. Ooh, this sounds like fun. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. I love the idea of like her having some history and her father having history with this town, and it has like this spooky, like if spooky film was filmed there, but then like there's legitimately spooky things happening in the town. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, 2 more. This one, I didn't realize how big it was until I got it in the mail, and I saw how chunky it was, and I picked it up and was like, what book did I order that was this just like fat, P-H-A-T, fat? This one, apparently, look at that. For me, that's a chunker. I don't read really chunky books. But that cover though. It's A Peculiar Peril by Jeff Vandermeer. This one, I read the description of after I got it, and I was like, I still don't fully understand what's happening, but it sounds really fun. So it says, warning, this book is not normal. You've been warned. Charlemagne appears as a giant moth. Napoleon is just a head. William the Conqueror is an eel. Some of the vegetables you meet can talk. Marmots are not the usual size. There is a land bridge between England and Europe and an alternate Earth called Aurora. Guns shoot bears. That's right, they shoot out bears. What is this book? Rabid chipmunks fall from the sky, and there are 3 magical doors, but no one knows what the door really do or where the 3rd door goes. Heck, all Jonathan Lamb should know is that he must help find a golden sphere before Aleister Crowley can, but nobody tells him the sphere is intelligent. And a psychopath to boot. If you proceed, you must repeat the following. I have been warned, and the risk is mine. Long live Squishy. At the very bottom in little letters it says, who is Squishy? You'll just have to read to find out. It sounds so fun. Oh my goodness. Oh, and see, I read the description. I still have no idea what this book's about, but I'm so intrigued. It just sounds so fun. Oh my goodness. I want to know who Squishy is now. I need to know who is Squishy. It makes me think of Finding Nemo. What is it like? My Squishy. This is my Squishy. Okay, we've made it, folks. The last book. This one I'm really excited about. It is a adult thriller, and it is called The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. That's not how you pronounce it. Okay, let's see what this one's about. In a quest for a simpler life, Helen and Nate have abandoned the comforts of suburbia to take up residence on 44 acres of rural land where they will begin the ultimate aspirational do-it-yourself project, building the house of their dreams. When they discover that this beautiful property has a dark and violent past, Helen, a former history teacher, becomes consumed by the local legend of Hattie Breckenridge, a woman who lived and died there a century ago. With her passion for artifacts, Helen finds special materials to incorporate into the house. A beam from an old schoolroom, bricks from a mill, a mantle from a farmhouse. Objects that draw her deeper into the story of Hattie and her descendants. 3 generations of Breckenridge women, each of whom died suspiciously. As the building project progresses, the house will become a place of menace and unfinished business. A new home, now haunted, that beckons its owners and their neighbors toward unimaginable danger. They built a haunted house. It's awesome. It sounds really spooky and fun. Oh my goodness, you guys. I have so many books piled around me right now, and I'm so happy. I can't wait to put them on my book trolley, as the British like to say. The book trolley. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, those are all the books that I picked up within the past few months. What is wrong with me? But I'm very excited to read these. I hope I can get to most of these this year. We'll see what happens. Please let me know down below if you have read any of these. Let me know if any of these caught your attention. If you haven't heard of some of these before and you're like, ooh, after that description, I want to read that. Let me know down below, because I'd be fascinated to hear if some of these you hadn't heard of and now you're like, yes, I must read it now. On this side of the video is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel and follow me on my book journey. On this side of the video is a suggestion for another video if you want to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching my book haul. You rock, and don't forget to keep reading, okay? Bye.